Now it leaves me to talk about two topics which the Workers' Party is always very concerned about: labour policy as well as CPF policy. As far as labour policy is concerned, WP has a couple of concerns. I'll just highlight a few. First concern is about low-wage workers and how the low-wage workers are going to cope with the cost of living and inflation. Secondly, of course, we are concerned about the foreign manpower policy in Singapore, especially vis-à-vis opportunity for Singaporeans to pursue meaningful career paths, and also vis-à-vis the productivity push that we are all working on. The third concern I'd like to highlight is about older workers. And recent policy changes have seen the CPF drawdown age being delayed from 62 to 65 years. But the corresponding re-employment obligations that were passed in January this year are, in our opinion, quite weak. They still expose our older workers to the risk of shabby treatment and possible unemployment between 62 to 65 years. So in light of these concerns, we have certain beliefs and proposals. First, with regard to the low-wage workers and income divide, we believe that more assistance should be given to the low-wage workers. Now, we do support WIS, the Workfare Income Supplement Scheme, but we advocate that WIS should be improved for better support of our low-wage workers in a few areas. First, to have more regular payouts under WIS. Secondly, a higher cash component to be given out under WIS, even for self-employed. And third, the quantum of WIS should be benchmarked to the cost of living. Secondly, with regard to foreign manpower, now we welcome foreign manpower who add value to Singapore and also bring in expertise that we do not have. But at the same time, the key concern is whether Singaporeans will have ample opportunity to advance their careers in Singapore, and that employers should only hire foreign manpower for positions that Singaporeans cannot fill. And in this respect, we would like to recommend that there be more careful calibration of foreign manpower at all skill levels. And by this we mean that the dependency ratios or the quotas should actually be drilled down to the industry level rather than what is currently being practiced where they are drilled only to broad sectors. For example, manufacturing is defined as a sector, but it covers quite a different range of industries within manufacturing. Similarly, for services, there are many businesses classified under services. So our recommendation is that the calibration of the foreign manpower should be drilled down not just to these broad sectors, but also to the individual industries. Now, how to calibrate? General principles I think that we will look at are things like productivity targets for that industry, prospects for Singaporeans to work in that industry, and sustainability. Now, thirdly, with regard to older workers, as I mentioned earlier, we have concerns about the financial situation of the older workers, particularly in light of the CPF changes that delay the drawdown age. So we feel that since the government has already pushed back the drawdown age from 62 to 65, it should actually push back the retirement age as well, the statutory retirement age, to 65. If it doesn't want to do that, then the re-employment obligations have to be strengthened to provide for more seamless continuity of employment from 62 to 65. Finally, CPF policy. What are WP's concerns about CPF? First of all, we have doubts about how adequate CPF has been as a scheme to provide for retirement adequacy. In fact, a couple of years ago, Prime Minister himself said that the scheme was flawed at that time. What are the reasons? Probably because CPF is serving too many masters at the moment: healthcare, housing, retirement, education. So that's one reason. Secondly, also, history has shown that the government used to use CPF as a cost-cutting tool during economic cycles. So when CPF rates were cut, of course, retirement adequacy was affected. Now, our second concern about CPF, besides retirement adequacy, is how to get higher returns for members on CPF funds. Now, right now, the CPF board pays interest to CPF members at a certain rate. But we note that the government is also making use of CPF monies to invest and getting higher returns from there. So the question is, how can we have a policy that is fairer to CPF members in the light of this practice? Third issue with regard to CPF is about CPF Life, which was introduced as a compulsory national annuity scheme. Now, CPF Life is supposed to provide lifelong income to all members, but there are solvency concerns whether CPF Life will be solvent over time. And in fact, if you look at the CPF Act on this point, there is actually a mention that there's no guarantee of solvency because the government refuses to underwrite that. And fourthly, with regard to older workers, we are concerned about the delay in CPF drawdown without the corresponding security of re-employment. So the question is, how do we plug this gap? So for these four concerns, WP's beliefs and proposals, I will highlight a few. First, with regard to retirement adequacy, it has always been our principle that CPF rates should not be tinkered with during economic cycles. We should fix the rate and not adjust it as a cost-cutting tool. Secondly, we recommend that there be periodic dividends given to CPF members from government investment gains. As I mentioned earlier, since the government uses CPF funds to invest for higher returns, we feel that it's fair that periodically the government do declare dividends based on these investment gains back to CPF members. Third point, for CPF Life, since it's a compulsory annuity scheme, we believe that it is right that the government should underwrite its solvency to protect CPF members. Fourthly, for those members or those Singaporeans who are aged more than 85, we feel that the government should set up a longevity fund. Longevity fund based on budget surpluses. A sum of money can be set aside to grow income, and this longevity fund can be used to support our senior citizens above 85 who are not adequately covered either by CPF or who have no means. Now, the last point concerning CPF relates to what we believe should be some flexibility introduced into the CPF scheme. Now, this is because I think that the government sometimes forgets that CPF money is actually owned by the CPF members. And therefore, CPF members should have certain rights over those monies. And 2 points in particular we feel should be looked at. First of all, the data is out there by Ministry of Manpower that the employment outlook for workers in the 55 to 64 age group is not that rosy. In 2010, the rate was about 59% for those aged 55 to 64. And I think for those over 60, it's probably less. So it's very important, I think, that we should never link the drawdown age for CPF money to any retirement age or re-employment age because of the weak employment outlook. We cannot be certain that these older workers will be employment, whether we have a retirement age at a certain age or re-employment age. And we advocate that members should be allowed to draw down their CPF monies from age 60 onwards. Last point, we also would like to recommend that for Singaporeans who have encountered dire financial difficulties at a certain point in their lives, that there should be some provision for them to draw a limited amount of funds from their own CPF balances to tide them over this period. And of course, we should set strict conditions so that the funds are not depleted, but we believe that this is something that should be considered seriously. All right, thank you very much. That's my brief for Labour and CPF.